All right, so here it is. I looked on YouTube. I wanted to make a vertical stand for my go-karts, but I couldn't find any plans on how to do it. They're about like $170 to buy one. It's a little expensive. Some of them you can't even put you can't even put it up with the bumpers. So I was like, you know what? I'll make my own. So I'm gonna cut you guys the hassle of watching me cut all this metal, but I have all the measurements here for you, so you can see them. And I'll show you. This is the second one I made. I made two of them at one time. This was about 20 feet. This was about a 20-foot stick of 1 inch 120 wall tubing. So here are the width is going to be a total of 34 inches. These are 32 inches each. Okay. And then these are 19 inches. Two are 19-inch tubes. Two are at 18 inches. We have two pieces at 8 inches each. 245 for gusseting at 5 inches from here to here. These are 1 inch gussets from here to here, okay, at 45, okay. And then these, we have two of these at 3.5 inches with a 5/16 hole at 2 1/8. Okay. For casters, I got these knobs from McMaster-Carr. This is M8 1.25 medium strength all thread from McMaster-Carr. These are this is like some Delrin tubing that you can purchase from McMaster-Carr as well. What I did is I just turned them on the lathe. You don't need a lathe though, but it just makes it easier. So basically it's just 1 foot stick of tubing. I just cut them at 1 inch increments, drilled it to about 3/4 inch, and threaded it with an M8 tap. So that is pretty much right here everything you're gonna need in order to make your vertical go-kart stand. So let me show you. This is how it turned out. Okay. So basically, I'll show you guys all the measurements right now, but these are the 19-inch tubes, and then all of the 32 inches are going to be exactly the same. And we're measuring from here to the end is 34 inches, which is why these are 32 inches in length. Basically, I just kind of got the idea, referenced it from people that had from just like online and some pictures that I had, and then I used the measurements. I referenced the measurements on my go-kart, and that's how I came up with these measurements. Everything looks to be pretty good. If you see, this is how I bolted it up. So yeah, this is pretty much it. So let's get started. Okay, so pretty much I have this is the back piece. I have it laid out. So these are the two 19-inch tubes right there. And then you're using 2 of your 32 inches. And then just double check. See, 34 inches, top and bottom. Okay, and then just to make sure that it's square, I measure diagonally. At 39, and then one more measurement right here, just at 39. So that's close enough. Just have it all flat, ready to go. I'm just gonna tack it in place, and then we'll go to the next step. So got the second one in. So I made a mark from the end to here at exactly 11 inches. Okay. So now from there to the end is 11.5. Same thing on this side, 11.5. So I'm just going to tack this one in place, and that will then just basically weld it up. Be careful when you're welding this tubing because it does warp if you put too much heat into it. I've seen some people only weld one side. If you want to weld one side, cool it down, then weld the other side, at least, so maybe that way it doesn't warp. But so you're going to take, these are the 8-inch tubes that you cut out, okay? So from here to the top right there, if you can see the mark, is 4.5 inches. So this distance from here to here is 4.5 inches. And then you want to just make sure this is perpendicular. And I tack that in place. I'm only going to weld it on the sides. I'm trying not to get too much heat because that one warped a little bit. So I'm trying not to get too much heat. I sanded the welds down just because I don't want it to interfere with the go-kart at all. I want it to be as flat as possible. So that's the idea. So now I'm just going to do the other side. If you look, there's the mark right there. So, and that's it. So basically this is the bottom, that's the top. So the smaller distance is the bottom distance. Okay, cool. So this is the next step. Weld on the 5-inch diagonals right in place, right? So now you have, this is the axle, where the axle sits, and we have it gusseted. And then you're going to want to weld this piece where you have the bolt in it. Now, I welded a nut on the backside. This is so that we could torque it. It just needs to, the bolt just needs to be tapped very, very lightly. But because there's always going to be force on it, the tacks just need to hold the nut, but they don't actually need to. You don't need to have the nut like super welded, or else they'll get warped too. So you're going to want to weld the nut side down. All right, basically just have the back flush, and that's it. So I'm going to do that right here. Once again, tacked the 45s on, and this structure is almost done. Now that this is done, you're going to lift it up. I put a couple 90s right here, and then these are the two 18-inch tubes on either side, and the fourth 32-inch tube. Squared it up, ready to weld. These are all tacked in now, all right? It's all ready to go. Now you're going to take these small ones, and we're going to put those right there. So that. Now the reason they can't be too big is because it will hit the bumper. And that's the reason why this one's a tiny bit longer than this one, just because to give that extra little room so you don't have to remove the bumper in order to put it on the go-kart. So just gonna tack those in, fully weld it up, and then put the casters on. And that's it. It's very, very simple. It's such a simple design. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish welding it up. I'll show you guys how I put the rest of the pieces together after. So welded it all up, and now just tacked. Simple, just tacks on the casters. I mean, it's not the right way to do it, but I mean, you could put a flange, put some hardware, but I wasn't about to spend another 20 bucks on hardware when I can just tack it in. If these ever fail, cut the tacks off, grind it down, put new weld a new caster on, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, just tack. If I weld it, then it'll be difficult to switch out. So pretty much that's the cart. Now the only thing left is going to be putting this hardware in right here. So I'll show you right now. So here's the final step. So you're going to take your handle, you're going to take your threaded rod, you're going to attach the nut to the rod like that. You're going to screw it in essentially to get to there. Once you screw this in, this will be your jam nut for the handle, like so. And then you're then going to put this in. Screw that on like so. And then after you do that, you're going to take another jam nut. You're going to screw that on this side. You're going to screw that on like that. And then you're going to take a piece of Delrin and screw that on the end. Bring that down. Lock that in place. And now you have your axle locks. Like so. That's it. Do the same for the other side, and you now have a go-kart stand. I did buy, this is optional, but I did get some of these square plugs for the ends. So these were cheap. They were like 50 cents each or something like that. It's from a company called Cap Plugs. Cap Plugs. So yeah, I got that, and then all I need now, give it a coat of paint. It gets pretty rusty out here, so paint it, and then put it all together, and it is done. That's it. It's pretty simple, not a very difficult process. It took me two of these, you know, took a couple hours to make. Not a huge, you know, this is definitely a project you could probably finish you know, in a weekend, like on a day, on like a Saturday or something. But yeah, it works good. The casters work nice. It's easy to push around. As you can see, I need more space, which is why I needed to make these, and I didn't want to spend close to 200 bucks each for them. So yeah, it's definitely a good, definitely a pretty easy project. I have wanted to make one of these for a while, so finally got around to doing it. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.